Good morning, investors. Next Gen Dante here with you for the pre-market action. We had a pretty good day yesterday. It was a really big comeback for tech. We had talked about this. Urged to buy the dip here, and look at this. So hopefully this doesn't turn into a kind of, looks like we may even have an inverse head and shoulders, but we are looking pretty bullish here on the market overall. We got the Qs coming up with tech and SPY running as well, and then we see that the overall trend is almost, the setup's almost looking a little bullish here because the trend is breaking with TLT. TLT had big moves down, and we can see that on the daily chart here. But then now we've had 3 days in a row where we're actually starting to come back up here, and the bond yields are going down, allowing tech to breathe here. And it's not going too fast. It's not jumping up like it did here, crashing the market. So we're actually slow and steady pace here. Hopefully this trend kind of continues, but we'll be watching this close to see how this has an effect on the overall market. But it looks like the trend and the correlation is breaking a little bit here, as well as the fact that big cap tech is moving again. We saw Facebook, which has been a tired chart, just stuck within a range between the beginning of really September here all the way until now. This is the first time we've seen really big movement from them. We had talked about this before earlier in the week, last week, where we had this range here. This is the daily chart, so this is literally just like a whole just weeks and weeks of just same lows and highs all in the same area. So when it was finally able to break up above that, we see that it was an easy push back to 300. We had talked about this trade into the Discord, almost hit it actually yesterday. So it almost hit 300, but that's the trade that we were talking about. The options went crazy, and congratulations to anyone that caught that run up. But the trend is also looking bullish here. Other things to keep in mind: home sales were missed by a lot, actually. I think that affected Archite. Companies like UWMC went down because the home sales missed a lot. And then Powell also spoke about crypto today. That was interesting. He was talking about it as potential assets, but saying that it's not too big on his radar right now, that he's focused on this. I guess it's not really his job to focus on it anyway. But crypto took a hit from that, but the market in general didn't respond to that. It was just crypto. We saw Bitcoin coming down, but we could also just say that it wasn't necessarily crypto responding to it, but crypto trading in its normal range, because Bitcoin was pretty volatile, as we see here on the daily chart, that it can it makes $1,000 moves every day, so it can go crazy. Next thing you want to look out for is the infrastructure bill, Biden's infrastructure bill. We got a little bit of leaked news on that, so you're going to want to see if anything develops from that. See how that's going to affect the market with the bonds and inflation overall. See if that has any effect on reopening and things like that. We're going to look out for. Also keep in mind that Europe is having some trouble with COVID, and they're actually having lockdowns again, restricting air travel, and that's affecting travel stocks. Rest in peace, Disney entry. We'll talk about that in a second. You see that your airlines and everything are down. However, if the rotation comes back into these airline stocks, or we kind of brush off this news, like the market seems to forget things every week, it's always a new thing. So yes, we came down on this initially, but if this doesn't continue down and we actually pause and hold the line here, we could see the momentum come right back into the airlines, as they've been literally flying over the past month. And we'll see, like, the strongest ones are going to be Alaska Air and Southwest Airlines performing the highest, and are actually positively here, getting back all of their losses from COVID plus gains. So you're gonna want to keep your eyes on that if that trade continues. Also, NFTs are going crazy. We got to talk about TKAT TCAT NFT, there's a whole section of these NFTs that are going crazy right now, but TCAT was definitely the one that popped off the most yesterday. You see it made a 65% move, and it's kind of having a little bit of continuation today, so watch this. But it says NFT, it's hype, careful, don't buy the top. We even had a little nice setup here, really, with the this here, and then the pop, get down, and then boom. Right after it broke out of the past the high, like that was a clear breakout. However, this is probably going to be super volatile, so I wouldn't go chasing it up 65%, even if you wanted to make a couple a couple bucks off of that. That'd be pretty crazy. So with that covered, let's get into these plays here that we talked about today in the Discord and things that we've done. First, we could talk about tech overall in general. We're saying that today and yesterday were probably going to be good days for tech. However, if your tech stocks are really up from a good bounce, that means you do what? That's right, you sell it. If it's up, then it's up, so you sell. Don't be caught holding on the bag here. It's great that we're looking bullish on tech, but you probably want to be a little bit late than wrong if it doesn't continue, because there's always going to be pullbacks. Wednesday's probably going to be the day where we slow down, a little bit of consolidation. Thursday we come back, we peel back a little bit, and then Friday we'll probably see another rally if today turns out green as well. But just keep in mind that on the overall market. And then also looking at Apple moved a lot today. This big tech is coming into favor, so we'll see if the trend, a little bottom out here, let's see if the trend continues and we can actually get above here and push back to the 128, 27 area. That was my original goal, pulling out Apple plays down in this area, but we got a little bit of choppy, so I sold the rip right here. So as we come back down here, let's see if we can hold above this level, even push back over 125 today. Let's see where that takes us, so we can make a higher close. Next, we're looking at Penn Gaming. Penn Gaming is looking like it might be bottoming out here, looking at this level from Thursday. It was the low of last week's move, so we bottomed out here. We didn't go below, make a new low, so we're holding up pretty strong. But we're just going to keep an eye on it to see if we break down and make new lows. If we do, then it might free fall just a little bit. So don't catch a falling knife here. Wait for the trend to reverse, and as it keeps coming, as it starts to come back up, you can play on that trend and, you know, buy the dip, buy low, sell high, because it could even come back down as low as the 100 areas. But I would be a buyer at that area, because we saw that we got some big buys down here. I think stock is going to remain over $100 in the long run, so buy the dip here. Next, we're going to be looking at Pinterest. Pinterest is also on my radar here. It looked like it bottomed out. Same thing with Snapchat. Both of their charts really look the same here. But we're just watching to see if we get a little continuation. They didn't get too much movement. They actually ended up falling off of the open yesterday, but they ended up coming back up to even green for just a minute or two, and then coming back down. So a little bit of weak movement yesterday. However, we're gonna watch it and see if we can get above green and stay green, and then maybe that will signal a reverse change that we can actually start pushing up, because we have a gap to fill here. But watch out for this. So if we get above this top right here, the $75 range, we can push up here and gap fill up to $80. Just keep that in mind. And then as well, we're going to be looking at HD and McDonald's for some value plays. HD is a very bullish trend right now, very bullish. We came off the lows of bounce, and then this is the daily chart, by the way. So these are just consecutive days of making new highs and higher closes on the day. So let's see if this trend continues. This is could be a good momentum trade to all-time highs. Rather than looking at Disney. Oh, well, actually, let me pull up the McDonald's chart before I forget. McDonald's, same chart as HD, really. They have everything with the value play and the value rotation. I know Rick in the Discord had called out McDonald's play for a long-term play. How those are holding out, we'll check on that in the Discord today. But McDonald's is starting to go into a bullish trend finally. So we have a little gap fill to come up here to 231. So let's see if we continue on this bullish trend here and can actually fight our way back to 230 on McDonald's. That'd be interesting. Then Disney, like I said earlier, rest in peace Disney entry, because they got affected. They were started off really good this morning. They were strong, and then they kind of sold off with a little bit of the travel stocks as the news broke down with Europe struggling with the COVID virus. So we're gonna keep an eye on that and see how this develops. We're not down too much, but we ended up getting an entry for, first it was for the April 16th $200 call, and then ended up switching that back over to the April 30th to get more time exposure and getting the 205 calls for around the same price range it was if you sold it at the right time. You really got it for the same price, so it gives you a little bit more time exposure for upside. I'm just gonna wait to see how that news develops. And then as well, I also grabbed a June 210 call as well, but the entry kind of got crushed with the travel stocks news. So we're not down too much. We'll see how the day develops if we get a bounce and what that does for the travel stocks. And then next we're going to be looking at Netflix. Netflix had started off really good yesterday. And then they came back down, but we're going to be looking at Netflix here. Ended up over 2% on the day. We'll see if this is where it bottoms out, because Netflix can be a surprising mover. They don't have too much news on their side right now, but they're just reacting off the level, kind of like Facebook here. If we have all these highs and lows in the same area and it doesn't fall, we can see maybe push up, and then once it gets past this point here, we can see it go all the way back to 550 and try to gap fill, just like Facebook had it with this consolidation. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And then we're going to look at NIO as well. NIO is going to be a sympathy play to Tesla because it's an EV. Looked at a potential entry for today, but ended up falling on the day, not doing too well. It ended up started off green, but then it came down. I think Tesla came down a little bit too as well. Even the pre-market here. So we're going to keep our eye on Tesla for a play in NIO, because if Tesla can get itself back over 700 and start bullish, I say 720 is the area that we want to at least get to on the low end. And then we're also going to want it to push up above 740 in that area. And if that happens, we could see NIO run alongside with it, because it just really kind of follows that as Tesla leads the EVs. Next, we're going to be looking at, we already talked about Facebook, so we're going to be looking at Shopify and Roku. Shopify looks like the same kind of chart where it looks like it's bottomed out here. We got highs and lows all in the same area here. So we're going to see how this develops, if it breaks down some more and maybe start the free fall here. But like I said before when I was talking about these stocks, like if these stocks fall down to back to the November levels, then I mean, that's a whole buy there. Because I believe the dip buyers are going to come in. However, we have some consolidation here. I like where it's bottomed down here. Let's see if we can get above 1200 on Shopify. And if that happens, I think we can get into a bullish trend here. And then Roku as well. Love Roku, really bullish on the stock. I didn't even know, like before, even last year, that they have their own TVs and everything. So we can see here that they kind of bottomed out in this area. This is the area where they gapped up, and that's what they fall to. So this is the area that we gapped up back in January. We're going for an earnings run up. So we're going to keep our eye on this level to see if we break down further. If we do, I would be a buy in this area right here in the 340s, to buy the dip here and then sell it for a potential retrace. But we have a lot of selling pressure here, you see the days, but it kind of just followed tech in general. So the tech starts to turn around, the big tech companies, we're going to see this come back here as well. And then finally, we're going to look at Box. Box had news today, but they also had a really good setup on the daily chart. You can see here, kind of similar to how we were looking at TCAT. Have some good news and a really good breakout range, but they came down significantly off their highs. So we're going to want to see if we get any continuation today. Not sure it was price target. I think it was something about an acquiring, but option traders went crazy with this one today, and the push on the prices when the options went crazy. So we're going to keep our eye on this for a potential continuation play, or see how this develops, because it could be a good setup alongside TKAT. Wasn't an NFT, but could make a good play. That concludes the list for today. So guys, name of the game is still going to be buy the dip, sell the rip, and we're going to be looking at these travel stocks to see how Europe's lockdown is affecting everything, as well as keeping your eyes on the bond yields to see if we really break trend here, to see that we get a fourth consecutive day here of the bond yields going down. That being said, guys, hope to see you guys in the Discord. We're going to be looking at these trades live. If you want to join us, you can find information about that at thenextgeninvestors.com.